This Paint Life TV, I'm Chris, the Idaho painter. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips to painting your deck like a pro, including what this handy little tool will do for you and how to make your deck painting process a lot smoother and easier. So if you want to see this tool and 3 tips painting your deck like a pro, stay tuned for this video. All right, now I'm going to talk about this tool right here, and I've recently discovered it, and I call it a bender bar on the tag. It's made by Wiz. It's a 6-inch handy painter, but it makes painting in between the deck planks a lot faster and easier. Now, over the years, I've used a lot of different methods painting in between deck planks, including stain brushes, including spraying in between the deck planks with an airless sprayer and a 310 tip, which makes it, fairly fast and easy if you got wide gaps. I've even used foam brushes to paint in between those planks. Now, painting in between the planks is going to make your deck look a lot more professional and a lot more finished. So you definitely want to do in between the planks. It is, hard, and it's a tedious process doing, but it will look like a professional did it in the end. So you need to paint in between it. This little device, it's a, I call it a bender bar, and this will paint in between the planks. I'm going to show you how simple it works and how easy it works. And it does paint in between the planks on the sides a lot faster and more efficient, and it gives you better coverage versus any of the other methods. An airless sprayer is very fast and efficient, but it doesn't give you as good of coverage and a coating as something like this will. The sponge brushes work really well, but this thing is a lot thinner than a sponge brush, and it's going to get in between thinner cracks and crevices. The sponge brushes I've used for many years, but they also, you'll go through quite a bit of them depending on the decks you're using, because it'll tear them up pretty fast. The brushes, if you're trying to work it with the brush, it just doesn't work as efficiently as these bender bars or a sponge brush does, and it kind of messes up your filaments or your bristles if you're really trying to work it down in there hard using a brush. So I'm going to show you this thing right now, and I'm going to show you how simple and easy it works. There's a couple things about it. Also, it's metal. It's also got a peg hook where you can hang it from a peg hook so it doesn't get lost, and it's easy to find. But let's get down here and I'm going to show you what it looks like using it on some planks right here. We're going to be redoing this deck again right here, and I'm going to give you a demonstration of how it works. All right, so we got this deck right here. I'm going to show you, how this thing, works right here using our stain. And once again, you got different methods, and you can see this sponge right here. This sponge is not going to work down in this crack right here very well. Some of these other cracks, it won't work at all, but yet this bender bar will fit down inside that crack very easily. A brush right here, a brush is not going to work on the sides, the edges very well. Another thing about the bender bars is it doesn't have a tendency to cause drips or spills coming down the sides of your edges, but you can see you can get a little bit of product on here, and it's got a mohair, basically gnat material on the face, and it's got a sponge so it holds on to your material as you stick it down in there. Now I'm just going to run it on my sides just like this. And now I've got my edges stained. If I get any buildup right there, I'm just gonna take that off with a brush, a stain brush or a roller. Once I do all my cracks and crevices along these planks, then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do the top of my deck. You can see, once again, I'm gonna just dip it in here, wipe off the excess. I'm just gonna look down in there, stain the sides really well, both sides. I know this is kind of it's gonna look a little bit tedious, but once again, if you're a professional painter, you want this deck to look really, really good, like a professional did it. You want all those cracks and crevices stained, 100%, protected 100%. So there you have it. It's the bender bar. I guess one of the reasons why I call it a bender bar is the thing actually bends. So you can bend it to work in areas that need to have something that bends, I guess. So it's something that you can use for more than just a deck. You can get anything you need to paint or stain in tight places. This is going to be a handy little tool for you that you can do that. Say like behind a toilet or something like that. There you have it. It's the Bender bar. Now let's get on to 2 more tips. Staining a deck like a pro. The second tip I have when it comes to painting a deck and getting results so it looks like a professional did it, and that is actually painting, staining your deck with the direction of the planks. So when you stain, you don't want to stain the opposite direction that the planks run. For one thing, that's going to cause a lot of drips and spills to spill in between your deck, but it won't look natural and it won't look professional when it's all done. You want to roll with the planks or back brush with the planks. When I'm actually doing a large deck, I like to roll out my color as I'm working down the line, but then I also back brush it. So I'm gonna roll it with the direction of the planks, but then I'm gonna back brush each plank with the direction of the plank. And I'm gonna brush it just like this, moving down the line and back brushing it. And that's gonna give it a more natural look to the deck itself. And it's just gonna have a finish that looks like a professional did it. So when you're laying out your deck, it's just like a wall. If you want good results, you got to lay out your wall after you apply the product on a deck. When you apply the product, you want to lay it out. If you're not rolling it with a roller and applying it with a brush, the same thing applies. I'm going to apply it with a brush and go with the direction of the planks at all time. So or the material itself. If the decking, the spindles are going up and down, I want to brush up and down. It's the railings running horizontally this direction, so I'm going to brush it that direction. All right, on to tip number 3, and that's having plenty of rags available if you're actually staining your deck with an oil-based product. Now, I've got the question multiple times in the past, on my social media platform, that my deck is sticky after applying my coating, and your deck will be sticky applying a oil-based coating if you don't get all the excess up. That's everything that hasn't absorbed into the wood. You have to wipe that up with stain rags and get that excess up, or it's going to stay tacky. If you don't get it up and it stays tacky, you're going to have to go back with mineral spirits and rub that whole thing down and get all that excess oil-based product up to eliminate that tackiness. Have lots of rags available. You're going to be applying your stain with the direction of your planks or however your deck is running. I'm going to be applying it. I'm going to be laying it out. I'm going to let it absorb in, but then I'm going to wipe off the excess if there's any excess. Now, you're typically going to have excess if this is the second time coating or third time coating a deck and you haven't sanded it down and you still have some of the deck coating that is not worn out and not allowing the coating to absorb into the wood. Now, if you got a fresh deck, you're probably not going to have to worry about that unless you're applying way too much coating or you're applying multiple coats. But just look at the deck. If there's any oil sitting on top of the wood, excess oil, you need to wipe that up. Another thing, these rags, when you wipe it up, they do become a flammability hazard. So they can spontaneously combust. So you want to spread them out so they dry out before disposing of them, or actually put them into a bucket of water so you don't actually start a fire. That is tip number 3, wiping up your excess oil so your deck doesn't stay sticky in the end. All right, there you have it. 3 tips: staining or painting your deck like a professional did it, or how to get professional results if you're staining or painting your deck. And a real handy little tool, the Bender bar, that's going to help you get your deck painted like a pro or in between the cracks. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell wherever it's at. You got to hit them both, subscribe and notify. That way you get notified every time I come out with a new video. It's free, simple, easy to do, a simple way to help support us making these free videos teaching you how to paint and stain your house. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. We really enjoy getting thumbs up. And if you got questions or comments about this whole process or any other tips or tricks you want to know, stain your deck, leave them in the comments section below. We love reading your comments or your own tips and tricks teaching us how to stain or paint. Out.